By the way, guys, why do you think conferences have long breaks in between sessions, especially the professional type of conference? They even call networking breaks. So don't waste all that time in the bathroom, okay? Now let me talk about some barriers that are put up by others that we have little control over. After graduating from UFCP, I headed to the Naval Surface Warfare Center working for U.S. Defense because I never forget the 58,000 American and the 260,000 South Vietnamese soldiers whose ultimate sacrifice kept me safe and free during my entire childhood in Vietnam and earned me the ticket to this paradise of freedom. So I wanted to pay back. I wanted to serve the warfighters of today who continue to keep us safe and free here. While my passion was what propelled me on my journey, I certainly ran into a lot of potholes and downright barriers. Especially since I chose to work at a place where not only that most of my colleagues and bosses were male, but a lot of them were in the military. So what's wrong with working for military bosses? A lot of them were just not accustomed to deal with women professionals. Today it is much less of a problem, but back 36 years ago when I started my career, I certainly was not part of it anymore. What made matters worse? My field, right? Explosive and weapons development, not a field typically pursued by women. So many years ago, after I finished this presentation on underwater explosives, there was this two-star Navy admiral who sought me out to tell me that he was very impressed at my technical depth. And then he said I was the smartest woman that he had ever met. I know he meant to give me a compliment without realizing that he just managed to insult all the women, right? By implying that he hadn't thought that highly of women until that day when he met me. Had he said that I was the smartest person that he had ever met, that would have been a different story. Okay, so maybe this guy was just clumsy and nationalistic. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. There are many other occasions in my career where I faced discrimination head-on, without any doubt. Shortly after I started working for the Navy, there was this huge budget cut, which caused many years of promotion freeze and hiring freeze, which then resulted in many cases where salaries lagged behind job responsibilities. That was my case. I was given technical leadership role fairly early on in my career, despite the fact that I was one of the youngest members of a senior professional staff. I was given awards after awards, including those that were Navy-wide and nationwide. My colleagues even joked that if I were to display all of my awards and medals, I would look like a Christmas tree. But promotion was a different story. Temporarily, from time to time, the Navy would lift the promotion freeze. And my management would hurry up and push through a bunch of promotions for other people with less accomplishments and less job responsibilities than mine. Meanwhile, I continued to hold highly challenging jobs, huge responsibilities without equivalent pay. Twice in my career, I was promoted and bribed with special privileges only after my management discovered that I was about to leave for another job. Then all of a sudden I would be told how invaluable I was and asked to name my price. So am I bitter because of this? Not really. I understand my disadvantage being an Asian American and a woman. And after all, in the end, I did get to name my price. What's ironic is because they discriminated against me, they did promote me when they should have. So in the end, they had to bribe me, so to speak. So on top of a promotion, which I would have gotten if I had left, they had to come up with other privileges, like giving me a nice corner office with huge windows, like allowing me to work at home up to 3 days a week. You guys don't know how huge that is because we're talking about back in the 90s when the word teleworking is unheard of. Nobody had ever get the chance of teleworking at home. But I was able to work up to 3 days at home if I so choose. So in the end, I won, right? The hard way. And then my colleagues came up with a different nickname for me. So instead of calling me a Christmas tree, they came up with another nickname, prima donna. I earned it the hard way, guys. So in 2002, okay, after my team succeeded in creating the first US thermobaric bomb to help our guys win in Afghanistan, then I was contacted by the Marine Corps. They wanted a different warhead for their SMAL. SMAL stands for Shoulder Launch Multi-Purpose Assault Weapon. Our Marines were about to be sent to Iraq. They anticipated having to fight in places like Baghdad against enemies hiding in buildings, shooting out at them. So they needed a better weapon, a weapon that would be more effective against targets behind walls. So my team was invited to meet with this Marine captain because he would help us better understand the need. 10 minutes into the meeting, I suddenly realized that this Marine captain was doing a fabulous job at ignoring me, as if I didn't exist, while he continued to chat amiably with the rest of my team, who happened to be all white male. Mind you, not only that I was the team's leader, I was at that point already a GS-15, equivalent to a colonel, meaning that I outranked this guy by 3 levels. So, what should I do? I mean, I could choose to be indignant, I could choose to assert myself to make a point, right? But then I stopped and asked myself, what was the definition of success? If success means a better weapon for our Marines in Iraq so that they may win and come home intact to their waiting families, then I needed this guy more than he needed me. So I swallowed my pride, step aside, and let one of my male colleagues take over all the dealings with that guy from that point on. 8 months later, the project was a huge success, culminated in a final demonstration for a Marine general, in which the new weapon did its job easily against a mock 2-story building. And then, after the demo, the general walked back with me toward the control room, and then he turned and offered me coffee. Of course, as a general, of course, he's not going to have to be the one pouring me coffee, right? So guess who was the lowest rank among the people standing around? That Marine captain. So this guy, who professed at ignoring me for the past 8 months, was now forced to have to pour me coffee. Well, the thing was, back then, I didn't drink coffee. But you'd think I would pass the chance. My team knew that I didn't drink coffee, but they all had to keep a straight face watching me, calmly giving this guy instructions on how I wanted my coffee. Double cream, no sugar, etc., etc. So what's my advice regarding prejudice? Try not to take it too personally. Well, aside from sweet revenge, like making that guy. But seriously, let's be practical, okay? When somebody hates us or dislikes us because of our skin color or our gender, there's really not much we can do to change a person's mind. But in the workplace, you don't need to be liked. You just need to be respected. And you will earn people's respect through your work, your ethics, your accomplishments. And the more successful you are, the more people will want to come and work with you or for you despite their prejudice, because they too want to be successful. So don't need to win any popularity contest at work. Yeah? So in summary, Any journey worth traveling is bound to have speed bumps and barriers. While our talents and our training and our ethics might be the entry ticket to get us on board, and our passion might be what propels us ahead, in order to break through barriers, we need emotional intelligence in most cases. About inner barriers, one key thing to remember is never see ourselves as a victim of anything or anyone. Sure, people do things to us, circumstances happen, but we are in control of how we feel, and we have the choice of what we choose to do next. That's our choice, that's our power. When we put ourselves in a reactive mode, we are essentially relinquishing that power to other people or other things and let them dictate how we should feel or act. Don't do that. Okay? As to those external barriers, not every single one of them need to be taken down or plowed through. Choose wisely. It all depends on our ultimate goal, our definition of success, right? So with that, may I wish each and every one of you to be a resilient tennis ball. May you enjoy a lot of coffees along your journey, and bon voyage. Thank you.
Another round of applause for our speaker, please. Thank you. All right, now I would like to introduce to you our performance of the night, performed by Virginia Commonwealth University Fan Dance.